Hello, welcome back to the Future Anthropology podcast. My name is David.
Steve.
And I'm Arnel.
So we talk about topics related to co-evolution, coexistence, AI, the future of humanity, and also mindfulness. My background is in anthropology, studied at Princeton, and now I teach brain education and holistic exercise.
I'm representing the traditional Tao, the Eastern wisdom.
And I'm a student at the Institute of Brain Education, studying Earth Management.
So today, I think this is episode 4, the 4, right? So today we're talking about nature. We're talking about an expanded concept of nature. So what does that mean? Why should we consider this? And what are the implications of expanding our view of nature? To start with, I think it's good to set a baseline. When we talk about nature, what do most people think of? What is nature? First, for me, like a green forest. There's water flowing, there's birds chirping, the plant life is lush. You can smell the earth. That's nature, and it's quite nice, actually. That's my first impression of nature. How about for you guys?
In the traditional Tao means that the physical reality that matches with the concept of Tao is the universe. So in a broadest sense, nature means the entire universe. So when we look at when at night, if you look up into the sky, the black vast space, if you see it as a nature, then we'll see the strong contrast between the nature that we know of and the nature in a broader sense. There's not nature like the green forest and then the stream and that kind of things in the vast space out there.
So you look up at the sky at night, that's nature too.
Yeah, that's nature.
We might usually call like, oh, I'm looking at the universe. I'm looking at outer space. That's nature too.
That's nature too.
And there's some implications. Okay.
So if you go ahead.
For me, the big division is like, where can I survive? That's my nature. So kind of like what you're saying, thinking of it as the universe. When I look out in the stars, like I can't exist out there. I can't survive out there. So a lot of the universe to me is outside of nature. The universe.
So nature is, on this planet, the nice places, like the natural places, but the inhospitable places are also part of nature. And now you're talking about expanding that outside of our atmosphere, outside of even our solar system, to the universe. So what are some of the concepts or implications if we consider this is all nature, even way out there where we can't survive? That's nature too.
None of this is right or wrong. It's just the different levels of the understanding. So when when we define nature in a very narrow way, then it's our environment that makes that's very livable, comfortable, livable space. That's maybe the narrow sense of nature.
Yeah, these days, what is natural for a lot of people, that's healthy. What is natural is healthy, it's supportive, it's even comfortable, it's vital. But nature is not always just that.
Yeah, that brings me one of my memories about the tourist travel to New Zealand. So when we go to, for example, North Island and South Island, the nature is very different. So the North is very comfortable, very cozy. But if you go to South Island, there's a wild nature. That's totally different concept. Depending on your taste, you may prefer one side or the other. But actually, even just without going beyond the boundary of this planet, even in the same planet, even where people live, the way we understand nature is very different. Like the difference between the south and north of New Zealand. But like that, even within the boundary of this planet, there are a lot of places that way beyond people's wildest imagination. Even it's a part of our nature.
You've been to New Zealand?
Yeah.
Just the North Island?
North Island, yeah. Just around Kerry, and then, North Island.
How's the nature there? The nature.
Yeah. It honestly, it feels like Jurassic Park. If you go there, it really looks and feels almost prehistoric, like very old and ancient.
So you're saying the South Island is very different. I know it's very mountainous, colder,
Cold. Much colder.
less kind of verdant jungle vegetation or forests, little like a tundra almost, or
I mean there's a variety of the nature there, but it's much wilder, inhospitable.
yeah. Which I think also we're familiar with nature, like the wilderness, untamed, dangerous. Yeah, that's something we're familiar. But again, we're talking about even beyond that.
Right.
We're talking beyond just like exploring the earth. I think for a few generations ago, it was just such an exciting and amazing thing as going to these uncharted realms on earth. And these days, we can pretty well adapt the environment anywhere on the planet. And we can exist and live almost anywhere on the planet, at least for a while.
Yeah. The thing that I'm thinking about right now is our next destination. Elon Musk is planning on, charting a plan to go to Mars, with SpaceX. And, the purpose of SpaceX is really to make humanity multi-planetary. So not just that Earth is going to be destroyed and we need a plan B, but really like an exciting future of what if we can expand beyond just Earth and become, Martians.
So becoming a multi-planetary species.
Yeah.
It was part of science fiction for years and years. I remember, what is it, John Carter, something of Mars, Prince of Mars, was one of the early science fiction stories, and it was all about a civilization that is existing on Mars, and then he gets transported there. Early science fiction, very famous. And I think one of the interesting things is over the years, as our understanding of the universe has expanded, we've seen that like there's no civilization on Mars. And if there is, it's farther and farther. The limits of where we see a common hospitable environment is farther away. Yes, there's maybe some frozen water on Mars, but it's not like there's a civilization there waiting for us to come hang out.
That when up to this point, living on different space, different planet beyond the Earth was a part of the sci-fi imagination. Now, because it's becoming our the real possibility, so that actually makes us think about how we are living on this planet and how we managing our space and what does it mean extending our boundary. Because it's not only about the matter of technology. I think the one of the main the way we expanded so far on this planet is just expanding our habitat, what we call habitat, which means expanding a habitat means we have our own lifestyle. I don't want to lose it. So I want to bring it to somewhere else and manipulate, change the environment to make it livable. That's what I mean by expansion of habitat.
Our habitat is a certain temperature range,
Yes.
certain atmosphere, and certain resources, food, water, other resources. If we can get all of that set up, then we can live there.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it seems like that's the big challenge is we want to change the space instead of finding a way to adapt to the environment.
Well, it seems like the evidence is that the amount of resource and energy necessary to expand that habitat, even to the space station, International Space Station, and for someone to survive there is extreme, not sustainable. And also, we heard like for astronauts who stay in space for 100 days or longer,
Yeah.
there's significant health challenges. And it seems like they could not indefinitely stay there and survive. So how much can we really expand our habitat, even throwing tons and tons and tons of resources at it? Is it really possible or not?
Right. That's if you become a little more to use our wild imagination, because once we start out of this our planetary boundary, actually it doesn't matter whether it's up to Mars or at the end of the solar system or even beyond that. So, for example, the star. If for now our star, the sun, is the only star that's accessible. At least we can see that with the naked eyes. But the closest one, like Proxima Centauri, that's 4 light years away. So if we imagine that kind of the vastness of space, and even we use all our resources, all our technology, that kind of the expansion, how is that possible, or how can we expand our habitat into that kind of space? So which means when we really considering the expansion of our boundary or exploring the outer space, then I think we have to not just technology. I think we have to change our mindset or also our physical, let's say, configuration.
Yeah. I was actually looking this up, like, because I was trying to imagine, like, if I were to get to Mars, what would I do? I don't think I would physically go to Mars. I think I would want some kind of like avatar or surrogate or some kind of robot that can go there for me, and then I can just control that robot. And then this kind of gets into like even becoming the robot, like transplanting your consciousness into, say, a robot body. I think we were talking about earlier that, technology is getting to the point where we can download consciousness, everything in your brain, all the memory, everything, all the information that you have, and then we can put that into, say, a robot body. This is kind of on the extreme end, but it's possible now. It's sci-fi turning into reality. And I think that's, part of how we're going to get to Mars and these other planets or outside of our solar system is we have to change. We have to evolve beyond our physical limitations and become something more than human. Like, let's say a technological human species,
So that makes me think about sci-fi, the experience of reading or watching science fiction, which is so interesting because you can look at different worlds and ways of being and even different kind of body and consciousness configurations. But the experience of that as a reader, an audience member, is always from our current existence. So it's kind of voyeuristic. But we're looking at the limitation that actually we follow science fiction a lot with the creation of technology. We are manifesting a lot of the technology that we've always dreamed of.
Oh, yeah.
But the place where I see things kind of getting stuck is we are not going to be able to kind of go there with the technology because, as we said, we need this habitat. We need this greenhouse environment. So the technology is there, the idea and understanding is there, but then we're stuck living here. We need warm clothes. We need nice food, all of that. So are we able to change in order to take advantage of? Should we change, or should we just get used to living on Earth?
Actually in the history of science, whenever there's a major breakthrough, what really drive those breakthroughs was not only the addition, build up of knowledge. Whenever they happened, there was a breakthrough of kind of awakening or change of mindset, new mindset, different perspective, new insight. That was the main drive to make the breakthrough. So I think in order to expand our boundary, It's not only the natural development of the science and technology. I think there need to be some breakthrough our mindset and our spirituality to embrace the bigger possibilities instead of being stuck in this form and this way of being. So in that sense, I think like many other examples that you already talked about, for example, quantum mind is not only scientific understanding, a different mindset like that. So expanding our boundary is also, I think, related to not just the development of technology and then expanding our knowledge and understanding. It's also related to some level of insight and spiritual awakening.
When I think about a holistic wellness community, and then we really try to make this healthy, balanced nature. Like a lot of it is about perfecting this natural body. There's a natural resistance to the idea of change that system, perhaps even transfer consciousness into an artificial body. There's a natural kind of, no, this is where it's precious. This is precious. So I think the mindset revolution that you're talking about is natural not only to those who might be more conservative, but even a lot of people who might be considered progressive. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the mindset change up to this point was easier because it is just your mind. No, now this is real challenge because if you have to let go of our understanding, our concept of being with this in this form, if you have to change that, then I think that's much more challenging than just changing your mindset. But I think that will be not just technology itself, but that will be changing our understanding about who we are. That will be the limit and also an opportunity for everyone in a very near future. Whether we are open to that, whether we can accept that, that will, I believe, will limit how far we can go.
Yeah. When we talk about mindset, I think of like two things that you guys already touched on is like one kind of the imagination of like the possibility of where can we go? What can we be? You know, what more can this experience be? You know, SpaceX, the mission is to be multi-planetary. And Elon Musk himself said it's an exciting vision, and that's why he wanted to create that. And that's what drove him to make SpaceX. And then kind of on the opposite end, you know, sometimes people don't change until they have to change. It's that kind of breaking point of like, okay, I'm sick of this. I want something else. Like, we don't want to have to change like that. But I think the more powerful mindset is having sort of like a hopeful vision or some kind of dream for your life. Like, what do you want? What kind of experience do you want? Like, I want to see us multi-planetary. I want to see humans on Mars. I want to see people become cyborgs and evolve and go out into the universe. Like, I want to see humanity grow and evolve. Like, what is that next step? I don't think we've seen the next phase in human evolution.
I think the part of the reason is the way we describe, the way we visually depicted that kind of change. If you mostly sci-fi movies, right? Sci-fi novels and movies and imagination, the majority of that depicted like monstrous and grotesque. So
Encountering aliens that want to kill us.
and also even the human with the kind of that they kind of altered the nature.
Yeah.
Was some superheroes they have different kind of configuration, but mostly that kind of possibility in the image of the future was a dystopian, monstrous, and that influenced people's view about that possibility.
I also think a lot of sci-fi, I'm thinking about many, many movies, they just kind of recreate Earth on another planet. It's like, oh, we traveled, oh, there it is. Which really, in a lot of cases, to me, seems like just another way of kind of touching back upon the age of exploration on Earth. the same themes, the same experiences. That's not what interplanetary exploration would probably look like.
Is it from purely economic standpoint? When you find a different planet, different space, and then changing the environment to make it habitable compared to just changing ourselves, it's incomparable. It may the up to this point it made sense on this planet, but if you do the same thing on a different space, even economically, it won't make sense at all.
So, yeah, it kind of makes me think of there's a thing called the Kardashev scale, which is like a civilization's utilization of energy. So like a type 1 civilization is a civilization that utilizes the energy on their planet. So they have like solar power, wind power.
So then we would be type 1.
Yes, yeah. I think we're close to type 1. I think we have to be able to control environment, even not we can control environment when we get to type 1.
Like I think you said the weather.
Yeah,
Before you were talking.
yeah, and controlling the weather. And then type 2 is able to harness the energy of a star, so like a sun. They have this contraption called a Dyson sphere, which goes around the star and harnesses the power of the star. And then type 3 harnesses the power of that galaxy. And then it goes on to type 4, which is universal scale, and then type 5, which is multiversal scale. But it's all about that civilization harnessing the energy of that universe as if they're, utilizing the universe instead of what we're saying the opposite, which is allowing the universe to utilize us and then evolving to whatever the universe is.
So yeah, it's like more and more control.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that may be totally a different topic. What are the ways of controlling? What does it really mean? Because for now, the typical way of controlling means dominance, conquering others, and then dominance. I think in order to grow that way, I think we have to adopt a different way of seeing control, coexistence, living with what's out there, and even before go that far, if we the reason why the idea expanding, changing ourselves, and then accepting the possibility of going beyond this boundary and being preparing ourselves to that kind of change and possibility. I think one misunderstanding. I think this is something that I wanted to point out. For example, including the Elon Musk's the Mars colony idea. One reason behind that is because we cannot live on this planet because it's getting worse. We may have to leave this planet at some point. That's why we are considering that kind of possibility. But I think the other aspect of that is by looking at that kind of future and possibility, we really realize how special this environment is, how limited it is, but at the same time how special this is. I think that's before we become able to manage or control the bigger environment, we really need to appreciate. We need to learn how to appreciate the specialness, uniqueness, the value of our environment.
That's right. That's right. I've often resonated with that. That the more we know about the universe, the more rare and precious this Earth, this planet is. But opening up this idea that if we adapt, that may be the way that we expand beyond this. It doesn't mean that we have to destroy or use up this planet to do so. Also, on the issue of control, rather than dominance, is kind of the Tao, that there is a certain kind of control in yin yang, in harmony, but it's very different from the kind of control you get from dominance. So coming back to like our consciousness evolving may actually help us tap into the power to influence these bigger systems more and more.
Yeah. The reason why this is so important is just imagine like this. The way we manage our environment up to now on this planet, and then based on the scale, if you expand it to solar system and bigger, if we expand the same way that we manage our environment onto that, meaning we will make the bigger space uninhabitable, turning into wasteland, and they keep going like that. That's really tragic. So that's how it's not only technology. If that kind of expansion going up to, even if that scale is really exists, going up to that scale doesn't mean only the advancement technology. It means a different way of being,
Totally different consciousness.
different level of wisdom to manage our space and environment.
And that's what I was kind of thinking too, because at first I thought, oh, this is a cool idea. Like, it sounds like something that people would turn into a movie. But when I thought about it, if a civilization has the power to harness a sun, are they really going to use their intelligence and technology to do something like that? Or would they do something else? Because, looking at the observable universe, we haven't found a civilization that's type 2. I don't think we've found any Dyson spheres. At least I haven't heard of the big news that we have. So I don't think, it seems more of like just an idea than something that would actually happen if you had the ability to evolve beyond the Earth and expand to a local star or local universe. Something more like a consciousness evolving, being able to travel in a different way or navigate the environment, the nature in a different way.
For example, different nature forces, how they work for us, and also depending on the way we see it, how we can see the different aspects of the nature forces. One example that I wanted to talk about is the Earth electromagnetic field. We know that shield that protects us from the solar rays, right?
Yeah, the very destructive solar rays.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you go beyond the solar system, there's a cousin rays, and the solar sphere, solar rays that actually protect the solar system from the attack from the cousin rays. So this one aspect, this was harmful, but actually, if you go further,
right.
that actually the protective shield for us.
Yeah.
So which means. So that's one example. It's not only about technology; it's about the way we see things,
Right.
and different expanding our understanding, expanding our the view about how nature works.
It's through Tao, there's the kind of classic story of, I think it starts with a father and a son. A cow breaks the son's leg, and it's terrible. But then the army comes through town, and because of the broken leg, he's not drafted into the military and goes away to a terrible war. So anyway, the point, it goes on and says, what you thought was good may be bad. What you thought was bad may be good. And that happens a lot when we try to control nature, and less of the bad things. And then suddenly there were things that was counterbalancing that create a dozen more problems because we reduced this one. So Tao, harmony, seems to be a better choice.
I think it's very important part of the preparation when we try to expand our boundary. Without that, then if we just expand the way we live now, I think it's not. They will limit our expansion, but also it doesn't mean it will. We may create this our current wasteful, destructive type of civilization.
Yeah.
Beyond our boundary. I think that's not good for us and not good for anybody, anything in the universe. And one example, the how things can be good or bad or both. We know that the electromagnetic field of the Earth protect the solar rays, the harmful, the strong solar rays. But if go a little further, then the solar sphere is protected by that. Their cosmic rays, and that's protected by the solar shield.
So what are the solar rays that can be harmful to life on Earth? They're protected by the magnetic field. They're not good for us on Earth, but actually they're protecting us from something else.
Yes. So that kind of thing. So if we expand our boundary, then it's not only just expanding the way we live. It's not expanding our habitat. It's like changing our mindset, expanding our understanding how nature works or how Tao works.
Yeah. And it kind of seems like that Kardashev scale was built with a certain mindset that an advanced civilization is going to look at the universe the way we look at it. And in a way of like, how can I use it? Yeah, how can I harness it and use it instead of like how can I grow from this universe,
Yeah, and it may be that I always think back to one of the sci-fi stories, Star Trek. I'm dug deep into the Star Trek literature and the original writing, but what I know is that the idea is that humanity consciously evolved, that the consciousness reached a point where it solved some of the issues like war and poverty and waste on Earth, and that's what allowed the species to become multi-planetary. And I always think that that's a very wise and inspiring piece of sci-fi that a lot of other stories tend to miss, that first we got to get our kind of mindset right. Yeah, and then we can go have these adventures and expand our territory and habitat.
Right. That actually makes a lot of sense too, because let's say you look at Earth as an organism, and then you look at humanity as some kind of maybe like bacteria growing on the Earth. If you were an alien species that was more advanced than humans and you were watching humanity on Earth and you started seeing it expand out to other planets and doing to Earth doing to this new planet what it was doing to Earth, you would probably think we need to stop this infection before it spreads. Whereas, in the ideal future where we cherish the Earth and save the Earth and, live in harmony with it, then if we start expanding, maybe more advanced civilizations or more advanced species out there would look at us and say, okay, this is not an end that we need to stomp out. This is a good thing that it's expanding out because it's only going to do good for that new environment.
That sounds like echo of what Agent Smith taps. Agent Smith, the Matrix, sorry to. That's what Agent Smith says to Morpheus in the Matrix.
Yes, right. What was the line exactly? You are
not
right, and you're a plague.
You're not a normal organism. You are like a virus.
A virus is a virus. That's what it says. You spread. It's good.
Spread without destroying the harmony with others. You just expand your boundary. That's typical behavior of virus, and that's.
So a lot of sci-fi does take that perspective. I think we've said before, kind of dystopian, kind of pessimistic. So I always come back to the stories we tell actually tend to lead our real manifestation. So it's important that we don't just tell pessimistic stories, even if they're smart and they're identifying problems that do exist in our world. I think it's really important that we see there is a different side. There's a lot of potential. Yeah. And we're talking about expanded nature, this idea that the universe is much bigger, but still nature, and that there's some benefit to considering that concept. There are some implications. And on the one hand is, I think you said before, appreciating what we have is very important. Let that be the starting point.
Yeah. And then the implication of that possibility is the first is appreciation of what we have. This is what we have. So the Earth environment is, if this is what naturally happened, then we are very lucky. If it's a gift from some highly advanced about the being, then we have to really appreciate that, right? We have, it's a really special gift, and because this is a very specially curated environment setting for this type of fragile organic life form. So this is not a nature at all from the broader perspective of nature. That's one part, and the other part is being open to the possibility of changes instead of being stuck in this the kind of preconceived the idea of we should live only in this way. So being open to the new possibility. I think those are the very important implications and new perspective that we can get from on this.
Sounds like the human species kind of going through an adolescence and a transformation, maybe not the first time, but where we were taken care of and then given certain things and hopefully protected. And now there's this growing power, but also there's a familiarity with that way of living. But if we stay in that mode, we can never really become more mature, wiser, our ultimate potential.
Yeah, I like that idea. I really want to see our history become a really the example of story, growth story, not as an individual, but as a species, how one species can start from a really humble beginning and go through the challenging adolescence period to wise maturity and showing out a great example, growth pathway for all other life forms in the universe.
Yeah. And so beautiful and kind of fulfilling.
Fulfilling, and I'm really excited about that possibility.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's like we can become the movie that we want to see.
Sure, right.
Yeah. Actually, we need more movies like that.
We do need more movies. Yeah.
I'm always curious because it's easy to create drama out of fear, conflict, anger, and desperation. But I want to see like a really interesting, good movie that's based on this just desire for maturity, growth, evolution, exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really would like to see our future making a human story, making the hero story, not only for humanity but all other species, all other the sentient beings in the universe.
Mm. Yeah. So I think a lot of interesting concepts and topics get touched on when we talk about expanding nature, the body, our purpose. And so we're going to touch on more of that in the next episode. And we would love to hear from all of you who are tuning in. Do you have thoughts on this topic? Do you have comments? Do you have resources that you think are interesting related to this? Please post them in the comments. And let us know also what kind of things you'd like us to explore in future episodes. Any final thoughts or requests to our audience or anything else you'd like to share?
I just I'm very happy about this discussion because that makes just thinking about that kind of possibility becoming an example of growth story for the all species, life forms, intelligence. That really makes me hopeful and excited. So, and hope we can share, we can deliver that kind of the feeling about this possibility instead of the dystopian the fear. If we share that with all the audience, I think that's really rewarding. That's very yeah fulfilling.
Yeah, I think a big inspiration for this channel coming together is feeling hopeful about the future and wanting to kind of share that to other people to inspire them to think hopefully about the future and not think that it's going to end in disaster, because I think the greatest story that we can tell is the one that's playing out right now. Really, humanity is a very hopeful species. I mean, in all of our movies, our heroes are the ones who come out on top.
Who don't give up hope.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because they push through and find something deep within that, I think we all want to connect to. So, yeah, we hope that this channel can inspire you or at least bring some hope in your ideas about the future.
You made me think one last thing that I want to share is maybe when we develop that kind of maturity and wisdom, that's when alien races are going to want to get in touch. And until then, they're going to keep their distance. So,
Then we'll have some new guests on the podcast.
yes. Sounds great. So thank you for watching. And again, like, subscribe, and definitely comment and let us know what you think and what else you'd like to talk about in the future. Until then, be well.
Welcome to the future place, where you see the human race. Past and present here collide. Join the journey, come inside.